everybody? ODC here, and back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to take a look at three figures. These are three figures that I got at Ollie's for $3 a piece. Crazy how cheap they were. But these are also some of the strangest figures that I have seen in a toy line. But this is the Dungeons and Dragons movie figures. I saw the movie. I thought it was pretty fun, pretty entertaining. Just an enjoyable movie to watch. And yeah, I just wanted to make a video about this because A, how dirt cheap they are, and B, the strangeness across the board with some of the, I don't know, quality control and just decisions with articulation, range of motion, and such. And it's very just odd. We're going to get to all that in this review. I hope you guys enjoy it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like the content and want more. But let's get into it here today. Okay, so first let's start off with Edgin. This is played by Chris Pine, this character. He doesn't really come with much. He comes with his little backpack carrier for his which is called mandolin. So, or guitar, whatever. I'm not a musician, so someone can let me know. But I'm pretty sure it looks like a little mandolin, something like that. The mandolin. Anyway, but it just kind of slings over his shoulder and it plops right in, and you can just clip it right into the back, and it stays on pretty nice. So no issues there. And then the other accessory, let me get this off of him. Get off your head there, Billy. The other accessory he comes with is his kniff, his knife. So there's the knife. Let me move in a little bit. There it is, nicely painted. It's got like a little handle grip right there, so it looks pretty good. The only thing I kind of don't like is that they, for some reason, I don't know why, but toy companies do this where they have like a slit. I don't like that. Just make it so there's no slit, so we can just like fasten it, the weapon in there a lot easier, because with this hard coat, and it is a harder plastic coat, you really have to like push that up to get the knife in, and it is kind of annoying to have to do that. And the sometimes the knife will stick out of the slit and fall out. So that is something to note about this figure. Now, here's where we start getting into some of the weirdness of some of these figures. Is really hard plastics for the coat, which this is Hasbro. So, I mean, I'm kind of used to, you know, nowadays, I would expect this hard plastic maybe back in like 2017, 2015 to 2017, that kind of era where the old, movie Nick Fury coats were harder than a rock. You know, remember those days? But, this just came out, about 2 years ago at the most, if that. I don't know, the figure, like the figure coat, I personally don't like that. It's a personal thing with me. The next thing that's really weird on him is there's almost no range of motion in the head. I mean, he can swivel, but I mean, there is no looking up. I mean, his head wiggles, and there's no jive turkeys. There's like almost no, there's maybe like a little, that's it. But there's like no gobbles in there. The belt sits fine. I don't have a problem with that. The arms are real weird. They're really, really weird. They're very, very stiff to like move. And you really have to move and manipulate the figure and pose the figure by swiveling this really hard plastic, tough to move swivel joint here. And I've heated all of these figures up. They were brand new out of the package. I've heated all of them up, and they're still hard as a rock, especially at the joints. I'm going to get to the hips. Don't worry, the hips are going to be talked about. But also the swivel is very, this is so weird. It's like Hasbro didn't make these or something, but the swivel joint at the bicep it's like these are like MCU figures from, like I said, like 2015. It's very strange. And then if you try to pose them, as you could see, the gapping, and I'm just articulating the figure. Now, normally I'm doing this so you can see the gap. I would normally hold this in and then articulate the arm so it doesn't put pressure on the peg going into the arm. But I'm doing this for a purpose, is to show you the huge gapping issue, because either the peg isn't thick enough or the joint is just not, it's just, I think it's mostly just the peg. The peg, I don't think, is thick enough to really hold all of the weight of the arm. And then the elbow is so tight that it's causing you to really force the arm up, which is then putting pressure on this peg, and it's probably going to snap, because this is definitely harder plastics that they're working with, as opposed to their little bit of softer plastics, which is a little bit more malleable, a little bit more give to it. You can get his double joint full range of motion, but you have to work with it, or work for it, excuse me. Everything is like just super tight, and you know me, like I love tight joints. I'd rather have tight joints than loose joints, but it's almost to the point where it's like, it's not fun to articulate them. They're so tight, you know? And then when we get to, well, the waist is fine. I don't have a problem with this waist. It's a diaphragm joint. Essentially, you could swivel and do all this stuff. But when we get to the hips, holy Moses, did they really weird this up with the hips? So if you look in here, it's so tight on this ball, the T joint for the ball on his crotch, that it's like putting so much pressure on that joint, and it's so tight. Like it's like they over tightened the plastic, this hard plastic for his hip / thigh, onto that peg, that it's really hard to move. I am like worried over time that this is going to snap that peg right off. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Like I said, yet again, still, these are $3 figures. I don't care. But the thigh swivel is even odder. It's just as odd as the arm here. It breaks up the sculpt. And the sculpt looks great, but this is just weird. And then we do have a double jointed knee, which is also completely frozen. Like I said, I heated all of these up. And you really have to like hold the joint and then bend and then bend. Like it's very strange. And it's also putting pressure on this, which I think another case of the peg being too skinny here. So, I mean, you can get him into poses. But here is my biggest caveat. My biggest problem with this figure, and he also has a boot swivel, which is kind of weird because the boot is actually up here. So when you swivel the leg, like the boot breaks up the sculpt too. That's just weird too. The ankles are just hot garbage. These are horrible. They're, yet again, way entirely too tight. There's a very small peg, because I took the foot off before. The teeniest, tiniest little dainty peg holding this foot on. So if you put too much pressure, it is going to snap this foot off. You really have to be careful. Push the foot in and then rotate. But the foot only goes up this far, which is essentially just neutral, right? And you would think, oh, that's no big deal. This guy likes to either lean way too forward, like he's doing right now, or way too far back, and then he just falls over. And I think a lot of it has to do with the feet being way too small. But you almost have to pose him leaning forward a little bit to get him to actually stand. He's just not a fun figure to articulate and play around with. I was kind of hoping that he would have had, you know, the same fluidity as maybe the Adventure series, something like that. But yeah, no, he's just not a fun figure to pose, really. So I don't know. I might end up using this figure as a custom for something down the road. I mean, it was only $3. It's not a big deal. I gotta say that the likeness to Chris Pine looks pretty solid. It's not spot on perfect, but I think it did a pretty good job. So I don't have an issue with the sculpt. I think all the sculpt on him looks really nice. It's just when you start moving him around and you do this, that just looks a little weird. You know, he looks like a stick figure. But the colors of him look really good. I like the blue shirt with the green coat. Looks very nice. The belt looks like a really nice sculpt there. I like the sheath here. That's nice. The pants with all the wrinkles and everything. I like the boots with the little straps right there and the buckles going down. Everything looks really nice on him. And the guitar or the mandolin or whatever you want to talk or call it. I mean, he can hold that fine. So there's no issue there. You can strum his good old guitar. Doot, doot, doot. Strum my guitar, doot, doot, doot. Strum my guitar, doot, doot, doot. Strum my guitar, doot, 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 doot. Okay, next up we've got Forge here. And, he's fine. He is very limited with range of motion due to this coat, which, like I said, yet again, the sculpt on him is really well done. I love the little ascot that he's got here, or the neck scarf, whatever you want to call it. He does come with a crossbow, which he can't really hold all that well, so that's kind of a mark against him. The wrist rotation and wrist, range of motion isn't necessarily the best. I mean, he does have a vertical hinge joint, so trying to get him to kind of do this and then point it at someone, it doesn't look really all that natural. He's just kind of pointing it up at the sky, and that's pretty much maxed out his range of motion. So that's probably about the best you can get. Even Mythic Legions don't do all that good of a job holding their crossbows either, so I want to say this might actually do a better job than them at holding the crossbow. But, the crossbow looks fine. It doesn't have a string or anything like that, which is kind of weird. But, it's okay. You've got a little sculpted arrow right here. That's fine. You've got the trigger mechanism right here for it. It's adequate. He also comes with his chalice or his cup. The cup of Christ. No, I'm just kidding. But it's got a nice sculpt to it. It's got some little medallions and diamonds and rubies and stuff on there, which is not painted at all. This is all just like a gold plastic. But I might end up painting some of this stuff on here to really bring out that sculpt. But he holds the chalice fine. No problem there. And he looks natural, like he's drinking it. Like I said, the sculpt on him looks really good. I really like this coat. They did a really good. I mean, look at all of the intricate design on this coat. Very well done. And then on the arms, I think it's pretty consistent throughout with all of the paint and everything. Did a really good job with that. I think the likeness to Hugh Grant looks really good. Very spot on. I don't know how many Hugh Grant figures there are out there, but this is a really good one. This might be the first one that he's got. I don't think I know of any other Hugh Grant figures unless somebody can let me know in the comments. The body underneath, he does, like I said, he comes with the chalice, the crossbow, and he comes with a knife here. And I'll pull that knife out. There you go with that. It is painted for the blade. So that's nice. And there's the sheath for it. And it just fits right in there. And it is well hidden too. So the body underneath looks fine. The ascot is removable. So you can take it off, take the head off and then remove that if you want to use it for something else. He's got like a little necklace right here, which looks really nice. The belt buckle looks good. Pants look nice. Boots, very pirate-esque boots. I like it. Very nice. But he also has some rings on his fingers, I should say. Come on, focus. Those are good. And then on the other hand, he's got one on his ring finger. It's like a ruby. So, looks good. Articulation is just as awkward as edgin or edgin. But he does have way better range of motion in the neck. He can actually look up, which edgin couldn't. This is what I'm talking about with some of the inconsistencies. Head can look down. He can tilt side to side, much better range of motion, and it can swivel. So that's already a win right there. The arms can go up. Oh, there we go. Arms can go up about that far. They go down, a full 360 rotation in the arm. He does actually have a butterfly joint, where I don't think edgin did have a butterfly. Let me double check that and make sure. Oh no, he does, but it's just like it's frozen. It doesn't really work. But he also has a bicep swivel, a double jointed elbow, which is he's far easier to articulate. And that's what the breakup of the sculpt looks like. He does have a swivel at that wrist, and he does have two vertical hinge joints on each side. So easier to drink his cup and easier for him to kind of use that crossbow. He does have a waist swivel, which is really, pretty cool how they hit it. It's pretty much where the shirt ends. And it can tilt, shift side to side. It can swivel. It can crunch forward and crunch back a little bit. And the belt is a separate piece itself. The legs can go forward a lot easier than edgin. Can go back a little bit. He can do the splits. I don't think I showed the splits on edgin. Let me show that really quick. You can do the splits about that far. So Forge definitely does the splits a lot better than he does. So there's that. He does have the upper thigh swivel, which does break up the sculpt. He does have a double jointed knee and a boot swivel where the boot meets, which makes a lot more sense. And he does have ankle pivot, and he can pointy toe. He can pointy heel, which gets better range of motion going forward, and the detenses are a lot easier to work with. And 2 peg holes, and a partridge, and a pear tree. Okay, moving on to Simon here. Simon is the most awkward out of all 3 of these guys, which, is kind of a shame, because looking at the figure, I was like, this could be a really cool figure. It could be really nice. And they kind of screwed the pooch on poor Simon here. There's a lot of weird awkwardness with him. And like I said, inconsistency between him, Forge, and edgin. You're going to see the really lack of range of motion and articulation that this guy actually has and how hindered he is. But before we get to that, let's get to his accessories. He comes with this wand. Looks really cool. I'm not sure the technical name of it. I've watched the movie, maybe twice, and that's about it. But, still a fun movie to watch. I think they did a pretty good job. There's the wand. Here's the helmet is removable, so you can take that helmet off. It's got like a gold plastic with some gunmetal gray paint. It looks fine. He does have this like removable piece right here. I'm not sure what this actually was or is, but somebody can let me know in the comments. But that is removable, so be careful of that. That does pop off quite easy. He also has his satchel, which is removable. You can take that satchel off. You can remove the cape if you pop the head off, so that's another removable piece. So now here is where I kind of want to talk about the articulation, range of motion, because this is kind of important to show how weird this figure actually is, in the same line as the other figures that you just saw. He has got he's probably missing about half the articulation that the other ones are, and range of motion. So his head can only swivel. That's it, just like edgin. It can't look up. It can't really look down. That's pretty much the difference between neutral and down. That it sucks. He can tilt a little bit, but it's not much. His arms can go up a lot easier than either one of the other 2 guys. But I don't think he has a butterfly joint. I think these are just swivel joints right here. But he can swivel up here. He has got the worst range of motion in the arm that I have seen in maybe 7 to 10 years. It's horrendous for Hasbro. This is all you get. You ready? That's horrible. This is like old school, like McFarlane movie maniacs articulation range of motion here. What are you supposed to do with that? I honestly don't know what that does for the figure. I mean, you might as well just have pre-posed his arm like this. I just, that's awful. He does have a swivel there, a swivel at the wrist. He does have a lateral hinge joint here, and he does have a vertical hinge joint on this side, so you can have him point the wand. But it is rather frozen on my copy. Something I can possibly work out, but I also don't want to break the peg off. So, and I don't know how thick that peg is going into the arm. I haven't inspected that yet. He has a swivel at the waist. He can crunch. He can't really crunch back. He can't really crunch forward too much. It's like a little bit. He can pivot side to side, but it doesn't really hold. It just wants to go back to the center. The legs are, they're awful. They're so bad. And this skirt piece just gets in the way, and it's really hard plastic, and it sucks. He does do better splits than he does having the legs go forward. I mean, I'm pushing it here. That's forward. That's back. But when you lift up this skirt, you can see, what in the world is that sculpt? I don't know. And I'm putting a lot of stress on this skirt right here. But it's just strange how they sculpted these pants. Like, what the frick is this? It's so weird. It's like, I've never seen pants bunch up this high before in my life. And then, like, it breaks the sculpt up right here. I don't know what the hell they were thinking here. And then the knees are just hideous looking. Ugh. That's right, Dobby. Friggin' hideous. My dog's acid reflux tells the story. But it's just weird how they have that, and then it's like the hinge joints are so bulky. I don't know what's going on with this guy. You poor soul. You poor man. Foot goes forward. He does have ankle pivot. It does bump into the kind of boot piece right there. But it also, like, look at his knee, like how it jets forward. It's like, I don't know if he has like it almost looks like he's got like some sort of like leg deformity. Like it's like wavy. You can see it like dip. Hold on. You can see it like dip in and then jet out at the knee at the bottom of the leg is like the furthest point sticking out. And then it's flat again. It's so strange. I don't know what's going on with that. He's I want to say equally as annoying to stand because of how these legs are set up. They're set up super wonky. Oh, and he does have a boot swivel down here too. Sorry. But, and he wants to just fall on his back constantly, especially when you have the satchel on. And he's got like little designs on his satchel. Yeah, it's weird. This dude's really, really weird. I don't like that they had the satchel also over the cape, which that doesn't make any sense. Why would you want your satchel over your cape? You would want it underneath your cape. So the cape drapes over it and this stays and it's not hitting you in the neck like it is right now. So that's just weird too. But I don't know. Whatever. Here he is all geared up again. These crappy elbows and these weird legs, and poor Simon. He really got the shaft out of all three of them. I might have to remove the head and just switch this underneath here. I don't know. All three of these figures might end up just being fodder for maybe possibly Cantina members. Cantina original characters or something like that, because yeah, they're weird, man. They are just weird. These are weird Hasbro figures. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm not trying to blow this out of proportion or anything like that, but it's just rather odd. I do like the sculpt of this mandolin, though. It is really cool. Or guitar, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, here's all their accessories and the figures next to each other. I'm not going to do a big rotation table thing. We're just going to kind of get to the point here. And would I recommend these figures? Now, I got these for $3 a piece at Ollie's. I would highly recommend them at $3 a piece. If you want some variety, like I said, if you're a Star Wars fan, I think you can use pieces from this to build other Star Wars characters, or, you know, whatever you want to do. If you want to use these for, you know, I don't know if you could use these for Mythic Legions. They kind of don't really fit in. They are kind of Mythic Legions adjacent. But if you wanted to use them for other Dungeons and Dragons displays, you could. You could do that. I wouldn't fit them in with NECA stuff because that's going to be a 7.5 inches tall. I think they're too small for that. But as far as other comparisons go, here is obligatory Duke with them. And, you know, it's fine. They're a little shorter, a little smaller than good old obligatory Duke. Here is a Jada Toys Invisible Man, so you can get an idea of height. Let me move him up a little bit. So they're a little bit smaller than them. Whoa, I'm dropping stuff. Here's Luke, and I think this fits in pretty well with like Black Series. So if you wanted to, like I said, if you wanted to fit them in with Black Series, you could. And Luke's supposed to be shorter. He's only like 5'8", I think. So that works, I think, right there. Here's a Captain Rex. So I think that works pretty well within Black Series. And then just to show you, here's Quill. There's Quill right there. There you go. So he's a lot bigger. He's a lot bigger than the old Rex, I want to say. Look at that. Look at the difference in size with the old Rex, too. So there's a difference there. Body proportions and such. And then we'll grab Little Orphan Annie. There we go. We got Little Orphan Annie there. And he's far taller. Let me just adjust his head there, too. So, and Anakin's supposed to be taller, so that's fine. New Andor in the test pilot suit. So there you go with that. But, yeah, I just want to make this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you liked reviews like this and want more, just be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I also do have channel memberships available. The link will be in the description box below if you want to join up and become a Jive Turkey. Ding those dongs for the notifications if you do subscribe. And yeah, thank you to Woodman29 and Terry Turner for your continued support as channel members. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And yeah, that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys on the flip side.